President Tinubu enjoins protesters and the organizers to suspend any further protests and create room to dialogue and warn those taking advantage of the protests to start an ethnic war. Nigerians have been protesting against economic hardship and spiraling inflation since August the 1st. The demonstrations have turned violent in some northern states, with security operatives dispersing protesters with tear gas canisters in Lagos, Abuja, Kano, and Kaduna. In a nationwide broadcast on August the 4th, the president said he has heard the protesters loud and clear. And as president of this country, I must ensure that public order in line with my constitutional oath to protect the lives and property of every citizen. Our government will not stand idly by and allow a few with a clear political agenda to tear the nation apart. Yes, so the next topic. I want to say the next topic. Yes, federal government reduces debt servicing to 68%. President Bola Tinubu said that the servicing of debts, which gobs most of the revenue, has been reduced from 97% to 68% in the last 13 months. He added that we have also cleared legitimate outstanding foreign exchange obligations of about $5 billion without any adverse impact on our programs. This has given us more financial freedom and room to spend more money on you, our citizens, to fund essential social services like education and healthcare. That has also led to our state and local governments receiving the highest allocations ever in our country's history from the federal allocation, from the federation account. Okay, coming to you, Doctor. we've heard from the barrister. He's made his point very clear.
Yeah.
But concerning this financial antecedents, he said that he has made history. You heard me read them out. Do you think that it's also a feather in his cap?
You know, one thing is that in leadership, there's a very big difference from when you're sitting on the position, handling the affairs, and when you're outside. Now, I will state, I'm not holding a brief for the president. I'm speaking as a Nigerian and one who obviously is against oppression and intimidation or molestation or whatever vice that might be. Now, if we have a situation where there is a biased mind for the president, there is nothing he would do that will make sense to those minds. There is nothing, even if he cuts his throat. Now, protest is good. I'm someone, like I said, if something is not going well, I speak against it. Reasons is because if I keep quiet, it will get to the state where when they are through with those people, it will not get to me. But when you begin to speak, before it gets to you, it would have shifted a corner. The president has looked at a situation. Yes, protest is welcome. The president was never against the protest. In fact, if the president had said that there should be no protest, he would have made a pronouncement that there should be no protest. But he allowed it. But it got to the state where people were now looting. We've experienced protests a lot. It has, because some persons you see, they engineer this protest. Normally, fuel has increased. Cost of living, these things are mere psychological. I am saying categorically that the problem this country has is the oil marketers. They are the devils bewitching this country. Now, if they increase the fuel of price, the cost of fuel, or diesel, or whatever it is, when somebody who is selling pepper or granite goes to the market, automatically it will increase the price. And the people are not interested in those white-collar jobs where they sit in AC and they begin to do those. They are little 1 naira that they will spend. it should be at least available, which is a government role to make sure that they keep an enabling environment for citizens.
Okay, but so, Doctor, being that you are someone that possesses a lot of knowledge concerning financial records, at least in our dear country, Nigeria, I know there's nothing financial that can pass without you having a wink, or at least having a notion about what it entails. He is saying that before now, debt servicing used to take 90-something%.
Yes, 97, and he has reduced it to 68. Now, some persons...
Is that a feather in his cap?
Of course, if he has been able to reduce it, it's a feather. But some will say that those things are on paper. Are we together? That's what I'm saying. If somebody doesn't like your face, no matter what you do, they will speak against it. But in fairness, why I'm saying what I'm saying is because I know that a lot of people have been brainwashed politically. This
I believe it's a political stance.
It's somebody who is just opposing the president as a political... sometimes the person might not even know, but communicates with someone who is trying to acquire power.
Do you think they are political opponents?
Of course, PDP, I know for sure that the president is not a member of PDP. So if PDP, from the national level, is saying something against the president or the position or the speech he has made, I think I would not just jump at it, but I will begin to check. I should be more cautious and careful.
Do you think that do you think it was fair for the protest to hold at this time it held? Did you think that the president being crucified it was fair for the president to be crucified, being that he has some antecedents concerning the economy of the country?
Yes, if you ask, I will say that the time for the protest is right. Are we together? Because the situation is biting harder. I also know that even the president needs to work extra hard because the people beneath this wickedness against Nigerians want even him, the Tinubu, out of the seat so that they will be there.
Being the oil marketers?
Of course, they are also
petroleum distributors.
Of course, because if you go to...
Do you have facts to prove that? Because I have people that they would like to have a debate with you.
I like to have that too, and they should tell me if they buy a product, they are the people selling. Who are the agents? It's the fuel stations. Even till tomorrow, I buy from the government-affiliated fuel stations. I know how much they sell. As I speak to you, they sell for 591 naira.
As a date.
Till date.
How many of them are selling?
Why are you saying how many of them? Those of them that are available, even if it is one. Are we together? We are looking at comparison here. You made a statement about comparison. When you want to compare, you don't, once there is one, you don't say is insignificant. Are we together? If you want to have a proper research result, you must put every factor into consideration. Now, these persons who want these prices to be as it is forgot that the cost of living will be affected. The president of this country, I believe that he would not want to say, let Nigerians just begin to suffer. What reason?
There's a power block. There's a clique.
Yes, definitely. Because when he contested that his presidential election, there were oppositions.
Yes.
And when people lose on the field, they are not willing to back out. They want to see that they keep doing what they are doing. But I think that the political era has elapsed. Now is the time that as Nigerians, we should put ourselves together, see how we encourage ourselves the way we could. If the president, for instance, if somebody says that he has not addressed what Nigerians wanted, I think that there are fundamental issues there.
Doctor, please, I plead that because I know the petroleum boss.
Yes.
I also, Ipman boss will be even here tomorrow.
Beautiful.
But I plead your indulgence that same time next week, I'll arrange for both sides to have a robust discussion concerning the oil and gas sector in our economy and how it affects these decisions and these actions that has been taken. But I know, Barrister.
Yes.
Barrister, I have a counter opinion.
I've been itching to talk. With due respect to Doc, it does appear he's one of the cabinet members. Of
no. He's speaking from a private.
I'm telling you because I'm also paying for the.
We talked about the government filling stations. Around us here, we have one around Airport Road.
Yeah.
Just a stone throw from here before NCA. You get to another one. After that place, you get another NNPC. As I talk to you, none of them is selling. In fact, in the entire Port Harcourt, the one I know sells is one almost opposite MRS, and it takes them time to sell. Beside that one, you have another one around Oyime Market, and it also takes them time before they sell. So if you go to that place by 4 a.m., you see that vehicles are already queued, and they won't sell until sometimes up to 11 a.m. in the morning. People are wasting their hours that they should put into productive activities. So if in a state like River State, you have 2 NNPC filling stations selling, do you clap for the government when you have over, if we do not have NNPC in River State, we have over 10 of them?
I bet.
Sorry.
Yes.
Talking about the oil marketers.
No, let's not go there because I want us to work with available facts. But where I was trying to point us to, where I was trying to direct your...
The reduction on...
Yes.
On expenditure.
Exactly.
See,
on
servicing of debt.
On servicing of debt.
From
97%.
I am a pragmatist.
Okay.
You see, America thrives because they are built on pragmatism. I don't know of any country that is as pragmatic as the United States of America. God bless them. I don't like it when people come and begin to rule out facts and figures and percentages when there are no impacts. You're feeling no impact. You come, you tell me that you've disbursed 70% of these resources to ensure that the roads are working.
But
you get to the road is not working.
If debt servicing has been taken care of,
how does it affect the ordinary man? See, an average Nigerian is not interested in you service debt, you do not service debt. They want to move on the east-west road towards our road and ensure that the road is working. They want to go to the market and be able to get value for their money.
Yeah, being an administrator, that you know that there are no miracles. That such events and such situations...
So he performed a miracle in putting Nigerians in this state.
No, he didn't come out as a miracle.
The president performed miracle.
I am not standing in...
He was very, very miraculous on the 29th of May 2023 when he removed subsidy and things changed, turned around. See, I believe that government can perform miracle. That is one of the examples. Again, in 2011, when Jonathan was on seat, he came up with a policy that ensured that in December of 2010, yes, if my memory serves me right, in December of 2010, usually it's the normal thing, every December there must be queue. But Jonathan came up with a policy sometime around September, October of 2010. And by December of that year, there was no queue anywhere in Nigeria if you want to get PMS. Government perform magic and they know what to do. Costs of governance is crazy. Cut it down. I've just told you how much a senator, one person, there are 109 of them. Multiply it, you know the figures. How much he spends for newspaper, how much he spends on furniture, on accommodation that government has given to them free of charge. These monies can be channeled into other areas that will make life easier for Nigerians. See, they just told us, okay, still the percentages that they like talking about. The government told us just last week that you can buy a bag of rice for 40,000. Ray, have you been able to buy?
Yeah, I've not seen it.
These are the things you are talking about. So you don't come and begin to tell me percentages, these figures, that figure. No.
There's a report
that go to the market and sit and buy. I bought rice yesterday. On Sunday.
They wanted the civil servants to buy first.
Oh,
yes.
The civil servant will have to buy first.
Yes.
How many Nigerians are civil servants? You see, these are the kind of policies someone sought to talk about. When you're not prepared to come into governance, forget about it. And mind you, there must be opposition. Even as individuals, there must be opposition in our life. In fact, for you to grow, you need opposition. Those of them in science will tell you that when there is an action, there is a reaction. That is how the sciences come up with a new scientific research or program. That is how it happens. There must be opposition. But then, do not give people enough tools and ammunition to fight you. I know that if I do not lock my house, there is this tendency that there will be burglary and things like that. People will come and burgle my house and steal. I leave my door wide open. I leave my windows. I leave everywhere open. And I say, oh, it's because there is opposition, or that's why they stole from my house. Did I take measures to ensure that my house is protected? So when you are in government, there are decisions you will take. Before you take those decisions, you sit back and take a look at yourself. Listen and put yourself in the shoes of others. Okay. This president, if this subsidy was so nice, is it that after 2011, after the 2013 and 14 protest, he now realized that removal of subsidy was good? Remember, before Jonathan did it, there was a program. Nigerians were enlightened. We are going to remove partially this amount of money. We are going to ensure that there will be buses, there will be subsidy, a program Shopee, which is subsidy reinvestment program. This money will be used to make sure that some persons who are the lowest of the low receive certain amount of money. There will be buses to cushion the effects of the high cost. When this president removed this subsidy, which program did he bring? Okay, he's telling us, there is allocation increment to the state governors, there is allocation increment to the local government councils, who are still looting the money. The monies will still, in fact, you rob Nigerians.
Oh, Barrister, I plead your indulgence. I plead your indulgence, but we still need to scratch on this topic. And I appeal to you to make out time for us once more. Because I need us to discuss more on this. But Doctor, be that as it may, Barrister has brought forth the viewpoint, the viewpoint of an average Nigerian. They don't want to hear too much statistics. They want things to be done. As an administrator, what do you think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I mean, in like 2 or 3 minutes, we are short of time, but don't be mistaken, we still have unfinished business on this table. What do you think, if you were to advise him as an advisor, that he should step up on to be able to ameliorate the sufferings that Nigerians are passing through?
I would say categorically that what is causing the ache or the increase in fuel price be addressed drastically. Now, what he is doing it systematically. He is trying to see that things are in place to cushion the effect. But because it is biting on Nigerians, they are not willing to wait. Because if you check, even transport for the children to go to school, how to feed, you see grown-ups suffering. And that's why people put up to the streets for protest. So I think that the oil marketers has made so much money. They have made so much money. The subsidy, they are fighting on the ground that the subsidy should come back. Look at the whooping amount. And to mention, it is not even the president that removed it. He only mentioned what the previous president kept before him. Because you cannot just come and say you are removing anything. He was reading what was in the budget. But like I said, when people don't like you, there is nothing you will do that they will want to drive to. Now, this should be checkmated. If they checkmate it, it will automatically bring down the cost of transportation, bring down the cost of food. That is what Nigerians want. They don't want anything as if they want so much big thing. The people are suffering. If you checkmate this, and these people, why you see that the president must be careful while he's also doing this. These people has a lot of money in their hands. And they carry a lot of propaganda. They can mobilize people to the street and even burn down his administration. If they know that the business they are into and they are making profit. As a managerial scientist, I know that people go into business because of profit. Oil marketers, they are not criminals. It's a business. Are we together? But the kind of profit they are making is what we are talking about. If you made so much profit to the point that it is biting on Nigerians, I think you should soft pedal on it. It means that you don't know how to handle that business. You should allow other people to also handle that business. And the way it is, they have held it to the point that you cannot stop them. Like what is being mentioned there. How many of the NNPC affiliated fuel stations are there compared to the
point.
number of
That's the point.
fuel stations that is there. So if you come, you say you want to even sell 20 naira. When you go, you will stand queue. Of course, who wouldn't go and stand the queue? When you see where they are selling 591 naira and you see where they are selling 800 and 900 and you will be prepared to wait because that will give you more liters of fuel. Now, if they don't, I think you should visit it. If possible, you should take them to court.
Doc, I think we've raised salient points here, which needs to still be addressed.
Yes.
Because we are not only asking and answering questions here, we are also enlightening people.
Yes.
So I don't think this is the end of this discussion. 33 local government chairmen in Oyo State have declared their unwavering support for Governor Seyi Makinde's leadership in the state. This is as the council chairmen came together to establish an association aimed at advancing the welfare of their constituents. Press reports that the local government chairmen made this announcement through a formal statement released following their gathering in Ibadan over the weekend. The statement made available to newsmen, however, did not specify the name of the newly formed association, nor did it address whether the Oyo local government chairman will be disassociating from the umbrella organization, the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGON. Let me start with the barrister, sir. We are seeing an unprecedented move in the annals of local government administration in Nigeria. A situation where, because of the recent Supreme Court ruling concerning caretaker committees and also reinstating the legislative powers to the speech and the comments and the legislation made by Martin Sameule-led House of Assembly of Rivers State. And it has gone a long way in affecting what is happening also in Oyo State. And the local government chairman there said that their loyalty to their boss is urging them to pull out of ALGON to form another association that is going to assist them in achieving their aims. Is this legal? Is this right? What is or what may be the motive if they are leaving ALGON, the only association per se for local government workers and those captured under the local government as a pressure group, as an organization?
Clearly, ALGON is an association of local government chairmen. It is not constitutional.
Okay.
The body is not provided for anywhere in the constitution. It is equivalent to the Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF,
okay,
which is an association of governors. It is also not provided for anywhere in the constitution. But the governors and the local government chairman, in exercise of their rights to freedom of association, created those bodies. So, in as much as you have freedom to associate, you also have the freedom to disassociate. So, if the local government chairman in Oyo State are choosing to pull out of ALGON, it is within their legal rights to so do. There is nothing illegal about it. There is nothing unconstitutional about it. They are merely expressing their rights to freedom of association. So, if they decide to leave and form another body, it is still within their rights, as provided under the Constitution, to form associations and express themselves freely. If they feel that ALGON is no longer meeting their needs, is no longer good for them, and they need a new association, of course, it is within their legal right to so do. There is nothing illegal about it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Let me come to Doctor. Sir, with that, it seems like a precedence already.
Yeah.
Does it look like every other local government that is not comfortable with the happenings around the Supreme Court's pronouncements? Are they going to queue in? Are they going to do likewise too? Are we going to have another body that is going to mirror the ALGON in Nigeria very soon?
Well, one would speak from the perspective where, in as much as individuals have their rights to be for or against, this is a body that initially was speaking for the local government. And if a pronouncement is done by the Supreme Court, and they now think that their activities no longer suit what the previous association they found themselves is, then they will definitely come up with a body. What I should be looking at is the one they are trying to switch to. Is it registered with the CAC? Is it a body that tends to apply law? Or it's just an opportunity for them to do what they want? But I think for them to have openly said they will be behind the governor of the state, I think their level of understanding would have also, before moving to that aspect, they would have also registered it or would not want to work unconstitutionally.
Okay, but be that as it may, sir, back to the barrister, sir. Do you see the caretaker committee chairman in Rivers State towing along the same path in solidarity with their boss, the governor of Rivers State, sir?
Well, we have to make this point very, very clear. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, does not recognize caretaker committees at the local government level. It does not. There are plethora of Supreme Court decisions on this. This is not the first time. Many, many years ago, the Supreme Court have been giving the decisions that caretakership is not known to law. And that is in view of Section 7 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which clearly states that a system of democratically elected local governments is hereby established. That is what the law knows. Now, it is now within the powers of the various states in the Federal Republic of Nigeria to ensure their existence through a law that will be made by them. The Constitution didn't stop at that. It went ahead to give them certain functions. So, talking about the caretaker committee members pulling out, first, caretaker committees everywhere in Nigeria is unknown to law. And the funny thing is that about 14 states or so are run by caretaker committees, which is clearly unknown to law. So let us assume that elected local government chairman wants to form an association. Like I've stated earlier, it is within their rights. Maybe they've not concluded all their plans, they've not concluded all their consultations. It is for this reason that they've not made us understand the new organization they're going into. By the time they consult among themselves, agree on a name, agree on objectives and things like that, they can now proceed to register. So, if caretaker committees used to be a part of this Algon, then...
Because right now, they are members of Algon already.
I have to lay the foundation.
Okay.
That caretaker is not known to law. But if, by way of exercising their rights of association, they usually participate in Algon activities, then they will be at liberty to choose whether to remain with Algon or to join the new association. But let me just state this. You see, it was Hannah Arendt that said that when you make a law that is impossible, you make civil disobedience very, very easy. You see people pulling out of Algon simply because the Supreme Court gave a certain decision. I am a lawyer, and everybody, including myself, we are bound by the decisions of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. But you see, when certain decisions are being handed down, and people feel that this decision is not people-oriented, they feel bad about it. A case in hand is just the last week ex parte order that was given against the protest. You see, when decisions like that come, people feel like these people are not with us. They feel detached, and they want to take certain steps. So when a court is giving a pronouncement and people are not happy about it, it tells you something. If you look at, of course, some states are already in court to challenge certain sections of the Constitution in view of the Supreme Court's decision. A case in hand is Section 162, subsection 6, which provides for a joint allocation of the local governments and states. What do you now do with that? If you say the local government is totally removed from the states, what happens to that section of the Constitution? So there are certain decisions that the courts give, and there are a lot of implications, and one of which is what is happening in your state. So by the time they, meet themselves, consult, and come up with the body, whoever is at the local government level as a chairman is free to associate with whichever body he wants. That's just the way it is. You cannot stop anybody from associating with anybody, and that is why people are defying the judgments of last month, and they're going on with the protest. So that's just basically how it is.
Okay, I know that this particular matter concerning the caretaker committees will bring up a lot of issues.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of questions to ask. I'm just constrained by time, but I'll keep that for another day. But be that as it may, Dr. Sir, what will be the fate of those caretaker committee chairmen that have already made expenditures? I mean, yesterday, one of them was giving out 1 million naira to about, about 60 or I don't know how many again. But there are some heavy expenditure that has been, I mean, they've hit the ground running. What occurs when it coincides, it collides with the judgment of the Supreme Court, as we just heard, sir?
Well, I will state that, normally...
Because the monies have to be accounted for.
Definitely, definitely. And this money is not what they give by hand. They are financial transactions through banking systems. Now, they have editors, they have all of that, so definitely there will be accounts for all of those things. But what I want to say is that this is not the first time. I would not want to... I'm not a legal practitioner, but I'm a managerial scientist, and I'm a citizen of this country, and where it pinches most, one will have to aid. If laws are made for the people, to favor the people, not to undo the people, that much I know. And so if previously, this is not the first time we're hearing of caretakers. Now, caretaker issue is coming up because there are political or personal interests or whatever that is playing around it. But the Supreme Court has pronounced. Their pronouncement was basically for the local government to be independent. And I think citizens has roles to play. If, for instance, looking at the protests, nobody is happy with the costs of living. But academics is vital. Knowledge is powerful. If you know what is making you to suffer, it reduces the pain of that suffering. But if you don't know why you're suffering, you will find out that it's as if you cannot control your emotions anymore. If the caretakers that are there, I believe that the caretakers are not against the decision of the Supreme Court, except it is out of my knowledge.
But they're still making expenditure.
Good, they are caretakers. Now, there are lacunas. I think the petitioner, the legal petitioner knows and could explain more of what lacunas is. If you think a judgment is given, and I believe that before the Supreme Court judges would have given judgments, it is based on the evidence before them. They don't just manufacture things. Now, if for any reason, this is not the first time caretakers are there. Caretakers are there. The governor of the state, I think there is pronouncement that they are trying to conduct the local government elections. What happens when the tenure of the people or the chairmen who were in office or offices, their tenure has elapsed and the election has not been done? So the only thing is that I don't think the Supreme Court is in the position, or maybe is looking at a situation where there will be chaos. But I think that they are looking at the governor of the state is the chief security officer of the state. And I think to an extent, he should be able to use his discretion to see how to maybe quell some crisis if they are trying to come up. He is not saying, as far as I've heard him, he has not said that there would not be local government elections. Now that the caretaker, the former chairman, their tenure has elapsed, what happens? They say there is no vacuum in power. I don't know if I'm right, because I think that is right. There is no vacuum in power. What happens? And I think maybe that's why this Supreme Court is emphasizing on the position of the chairman being in office and to be independent. I think processes are things that they don't just occur as rocket science. People will need to make out that room. And if they are trying to make out the room for the chairman to be elected officers, I don't think there is anything wrong with it, or maybe they kicking against it. So for any reason, if they see that the outcome in the state is in line with what the Supreme Court is saying or what the laws of the land is saying, because I've not heard any caretaker chairman or any of them coming to say they will not be respecters of law. If they say so, then they want to create a banana republic. So I think that the way the things are going, we should rather focus on how the election will hold. If you're good, the people will vote you. For instance, look at, I just want to talk about the protest.
We'll get to that point.
Okay.
The court, that is the primary institution responsible for settling disputes between government and between government and the citizens and citizens to citizens. He is now relegating, the court is now begging a matter before the court. The court is now begging out of, where will there's a scripture in the Bible say, if the righteous has lost his thing, if they have lost the salt, where will the righteous? This is what the court is doing. Now, this goes a long way. There are a lot of implications to this. For the courts to be appealing for out-of-court settlements or for political settlement, it's a serious matter. Because what will be the fate of the individual? Remember, we are talking about the state and an individual here. And the law is to protect the individual because of the power of the state is so much. And that's why the court is there. So for the court to be pleading or appealing for parties to have a political solution. But that goes to tell you, yesterday I listened to this story and I watched. They try to portray it as if Nnamdi Kanu is the one asking for this. Don't be surprised. Behind the scene, it will actually be government that is coming up with this, because it is now obvious that the government does not have. Let's look at the major issues, not just settling out of court. It is now obvious that the government does not have anything against this young man. Even if they do, they don't have any evidence. So, you see, it is one thing to take action. To randaciously bring somebody from another country to Nigeria, you want to prosecute him. It's another thing to bring evidence before the courts. To accuse, when you accuse somebody of treasonable offense, you must bring overwhelming evidence before the court. I believe the government does not have any evidence to prosecute Nnamdi Kanu. But taking it beyond, in the bigger picture, the government, they continue to make mistakes, government after government. The issue is not Nnamdi Kanu. The issue is not IPOB. The issue is not the people carrying guns disturbing the Southeast. There are fundamental issues. To the best of my knowledge, since after the Civil War, the people of the Southeast have been treated, unfortunately, as against what Gowon said, that there was no victor, no vanquish, and that everybody will be treated equally in Nigeria. Unfortunately, to the best of my knowledge, and if we want to speak the truth, the people of the Southeast have not been treated as citizens of this country. They have been subjugated. They have not been given their fair share. Okay? For example, I don't believe in ethnic or regional president, that the president must come from so-so background. I don't have. For me, in a democracy, I believe the competent, the courageous, one with the capacity to be our governor that can deliver leadership. But the Nigerian government have taken the path of producing presidents according to regions. Now, The North have produced president over and over. The Southwest has produced president. Even the most minorities section of the country, Niger Delta, have produced, South has produced president. What is stopping you from allowing the Igbo people to also produce president?
Politicians in Nigeria, as always said, is always selfish-driven game. It is not in the interest of the public, but the politicians go where their interest is protected first. Okay. So that is what I say. And Obe, who has taken an appointment from the federal government, but what I want to ask the PDP, is this expulsion emanating from their ward level? Because you can't come to the state and say we have not had any news that it started from the grassroots. So if they are registered members from their local ward, and they are coming to the state to make a political statement that have been expelled, they are not expelled. You can see the Digdal, and even in River State, when some people cross-carpeted, even on national television, and now they are saying that they have not cross-carpeted because there will be evidence that you are a party member and you're paying your dues and all that. So it must start from the grassroots. In the other leg of it, I don't want to say anything about it because for Apata to go to the Emirs, to the Oba's palace and make such a statement is just for a cheap political gain, because you know that all these royal fathers they have a way they assuage the people's sympathy. So he wanted to use it, but I am so happy that the Oba reacted immediately to tell Nigerian politicians that it is time for them to let the politics be on ideology and the manifesto of the party, and for the interest of the people, and not using the personalities to garner unnecessary sympathy vote onto yourself.
Please, I want to add something quickly. In his explanation, he was talking about, he brought the River State issue as an example. See, the River State issue, put it simply, equity sees to have been done what ought to be done if the first step has been taken, even if it's not completed. That is the case with the River State House of Assembly. So they don't need to provide evidence of whether they have gone to their ward to change no. When once they have expressed interest, and even in the floor of the house, and also went ahead, that is just the case. Just to make that equity seems to have been done what ought to have been done, even though the process has not been completed. And that's what the court should do.
Mr. Rich, there is something I want to say. Just 30 seconds. Please. Just 30 seconds so that we're educating people.
30 seconds, please.
See, in the case of Mr. Zoe always makes assertions to what the law says. The law is always relative. I pose it to him here. See, the law cannot preempt an intention, because your intention might be, that is why they say the intent is different. That's why when you go to court, they have, the intention, they may say you acted on self-defense. Also, the intention is what is being looked at. So, in this particular case of River State or what is happening, no, it cannot be as it was.
Let's not go back.
So what is the intention?
The intention, you cannot. It is relative. It is relative.
What is intention?
It is relative. Intentions are relative.
Let the judiciary do the interpretation.
The laws and offenses.
Imo State Governor and Chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum, Senator Hope Uzodimma, has said that Nigerians currently showing disaffection towards the present administration, occasioned by hardship thrown up by its economic policies, would soon have a rethink and change their narratives. The governor made the declaration on Monday when he visited the national chairman of the party, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, at the party national secretariat in Abuja, accompanied by Basi Otu, Lucky Ayedatiwa, and Abiodun Oyebanji, governors of Cross River, Ondo, and Ekiti states, respectively. Governor Uzodimma claimed the crippling economic hardship being experienced by Nigerians, it's a global phenomenon. He maintained that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration is doing everything to mitigate the situation and express hope that very soon Nigerians will be jubilant. Yes, sir, Doctor, sir.
Yes.
Concerning the postulation by Governor Hope Uzodimma,
Okay.
he seems to be a member of the kitchen cabinet of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and also the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum of the APC.
Yeah.
He is saying that there has been a lot of backlash against the present administration concerning the policies, economic policies, and but that they were not the inventors or the causers or the causative factors of the present economic challenges we are facing. And in fact, it's a global thing. There's no part of the globe, no country presently that doesn't have any financial or economic challenges. Do you toe the same path with him, or do you have a diverse opinion, sir?
Well, opinions, various persons are obvious to the fact that they describe issues based on how they feel or the kind of impact it has directly on their bearing. It is not a situation where what you say or they say. If we look at Nigeria as a country where His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is currently the president of the country, you will find out that there is truly hardship, untold hardship the people are facing. You cannot put that aside. But I also am aware that no one, as one who is a parent, a father, I also believe that no man would want to, who is the head of the home, will take a drive towards how to punish the children or the wife or the relatives or those associated with him in that family.
Okay.
And by that, as a managerial scientist as well, I also know that Bola Ahmed Tinubu would never wake up to say that Nigerians should suffer. And this is something I believe that His Excellency Ozodinma would have told, to say that it is not peculiar to just Nigeria, okay, but it is something that has to do with parties all over the world.
Okay.
Where the focus should be, because as a researcher, I also believe that it is not to point at issues, but rather profess solutions that could create impact, positive impact on the life of Nigerians that will make them jubilate over it.
Edo North Senator Adams Oshomole has distanced the All Progressive Congress from the crisis surrounding the People's Democratic Party primary elections in the state. Oshomole said that the law does not allow APC to interfere in PDP's primary elections conflict. The Abuja Federal High Court had nullified the primary elections conducted by the PDP that produced Asue Ighodalo as its governorship candidate in Edo State. In the Nigerian sense of it, politically, that APC is devoid of having federal might in this case.
Okay, so there's nothing you can exclude when you look at the Nigerian political landscape. Nigerian politicians have stretched, you know, our imaginations very far beyond what you can even contemplate, because there are times when they are given to doing certain things that if you thoroughly extrade, you'll be wondering if these are things that should be done for the sake of power. So I would say very directly to you that there is no way you can, you know, extricate. There's no way you can.
Okay.
Then you would even find in the APC.
Okay.
Because, for instance, Yosom Wike, and I had said this, was heavily very disappointed in what had become of the relationship that he had with the current governor of one who is actually trying to pull the carpet off the feet of the current governor. That's one. Two, you had seen what the current governor did with regards to the South-South PDP leader, you know, of having to get to his constituency, take him out. And you do not expect that these big wigs, quote and unquote, in PDP, we're just going to allow a newcomer who came into the party yesterday, you know, to start demolishing them. And there is also the third factor of the deputy governor who had left also. So you would see that there are a lot of forces, very strong forces, forces within, forces without, that are currently fighting the governor and his candidates, you know, in Edo State. Okay. And I had predicted that these fights would be such that it would eventually throw up a candidate that is not even in the PDP and the APC to becoming the governor of Edo State. If you would notice, there had never been anything like federal mites when it comes to elections in Edo State. There was once upon a time when Osumbo was there as a governor. Yeah. You saw how that, in spite of the fact that it was a PDP that was in position of authority, the court gave judgment in favor of an Adams Oshiomhole. Yes. You know, you went on to see how that Adams Oshiomhole wanted to contest his second term, and it was still a PDP that was in government. You would have thought that, oh, with all of the federal mites, they would have dealt with Adams Oshiomhole. He also became a governor. There was a PDP. And when an APC, watch out for. Okay,
so being a political watcher of the terrain that's of what is unfolding in Edo State right now, what advice do you think you can give to the PDP going into the elections? Because it doesn't seem as if they will have a candidate in the coming elections. What do you think? Are they going to go to court? Or what would be, are they going to go the way of APC back in the days in Rivers State when they didn't have any?
It must be said very quickly, if they must win this election, the current governor must eat the humble pie. Right? He must be willing to go above and beyond, you know, to see how he can build bridges and call the people who are the stakeholders. You see, politics in Nigeria is not, or the democracy in Nigeria is not essentially about the wishes of the people, of the majority. It's the wishes of the stakeholders that you see coming to bear. That's why you would find that politicians during elections are not very interested in canvassing, you know, around very important matters. They rather would move to Niger State to go and say a certain strong man. Yeah. They move to Ogun State to go and say a certain strong man. Move round, because they understand that in order for them to become in the Nigerian political, you know, firmament, there are certain individuals that must give favor to their
APC, to, like, as we say in Nigeria.
We also want to see what this person has got to offer. I understand that in Nigeria, the godfathers can make even, and pardon my use of this word, can make even, and I would use it, an animal become anything in Nigeria. The godfathers can. If they thought that an animal would better serve their interest, and they made that animal a governor, they made that animal a president, they made that animal, whatever it was that they wanted to make that animal. This is the reality in Nigeria. And the earlier we come to accept it, the better. As much as we know that this is the reality, it's also important for us to understand that it's harder to get an animal to become a governor as against getting somebody who is human. Let me put it in context. It's harder to get somebody who does not have all of the askings of a good politician as against getting somebody who understands politics the Nigerian way. So if you ask me, I would think that this is going to even swing in the favor of, you know, other political parties like the Labour Party. You know, there are other political parties in Edo State that are looking like, should the PDP not be on the ballot, given what is happening right now, they may just be able to take the day away from the APC.
Oh, so that is power to the stakeholders.
Absolutely. Myself, the father, the Baba, sits down and says, this is how I want it to be. Go to Lagos State, go to Delta State. In Delta State, did not go to Deltans to say, oh, thank you for giving me a vote. They went to the prison where Ibori was in the UK. They went to say thank you to him that he had helped them to win election. That speaks volume. And Nigerians do not understand what that meant. That a man who was in prison, it's not the first time a man in prison has been winning election. In Nigeria, in the West, we have seen people in prison. For instance, in Osun State, we have seen people in prison winning election. Right? It speaks to the fact that, so, Ken, you will become the next governor. It didn't matter what Andy Akpotibe thought. It didn't matter what the entire population that are voting in Rivers State, what they thought. Ken would become the governor of Rivers State. Twale, like we say in this thing. However, would the current governor have been able to win his local government election? By my reckoning, Andy Akpotibe would say no. But a certain man stood firm in 6 different places and said, this is the one that would be. And guess what? When the day came for the votes to be counted, he emerged against the political big wigs, for instance, who were in the ballot also. The likes of the Magnus Abbey, the likes of the Toyeko, who were contesting. Guess what happened? It seemed as though this person, albeit insignificant as he was then, became bigger than the ones who you thought were more significant. Across the length and breadth of Nigeria, this is the same fate that you will see from the north to the south. Look at Kano State. Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso just simply said, this is what I want. Against what Gandu J even wanted. He anointed a candidate and he became a governor. Look, in Kogi State, go and see what happened in Kogi State. As a matter of fact, I joked, I said there are states in Nigeria that have one governor. And there are states in Nigeria that have 2 governors. 2 governors who are in government house.
Incoming governor. And it succeeds. And you now have a situation where would the stakeholders allow that?
So we need to disrupt that process. See what's happening in Kenya, for instance. The current president did not only step down on the very anachronistic and wicked bill, he is also doing a lot to follow through. Billion naira was expended. The Senate, National House of Assembly, they were unable to question her. They tried to question her. She said, if we ever try to show you the data, it will be infringement of the rights of the people. And they kept quiet. There was a National Assembly. There are media people. There are civil society people. There is ICPC. We are going to pursue this case and set up God judgment, only last week. That judgment, I have even said that, if the president is not interested in it, who is going to enforce that judgment? Who is going to? So, until Nigerians are ready to take their country back, there's no way we can have these changes. Is it elections you are seeing happening? Do you?
The United Kingdom has almost 800, 900-year history. You get the point? And they have passed through even where we were. They have also been there.
Yes.
And we are at the stage we are now because this is where we are.
Yes.
And we are having a multi-ethnic society.
Yes.
That is so tribalistic.
Yes.
Everything has to be done according to federal character. We have not yet agreed that we are one Nigeria. What is the way forward, sir?
Adam and Eve. We should just simply learn from them and have their lessons as our edge to put us, ahead of them. Because the things that they did in the 18th century, we saw how they did them and the failings of those things. Why do we need to go back to them? Why don't we just simply come to 2024 Britain and pick exactly how they are succeeding, come and interpose it in our space and own it?
One of the anomalies in our political terrain is power to the stakeholders and not to the people. Can we do anything about that? That's food for thought. Don't move an inch. We're coming back just right after this message. Nigerian Youth for Atiku, NYFA, has endorsed former Vice President Atiku Abubakar as the ideal candidate for the 2027 presidential elections. The group asserted that Atiku is the NYFA emphasized Atiku's potential to transform the nation. Yes, sir. The personality of Atiku Abubakar, I first of all have my doubts if...
I'm going to be very direct with answering this question.
Yes,
first
sir.
off, Atiku is not a small portal to be able to produce results. We saw what happened in the last election, right? Atiku is one who, even from his days in GDM, right, the days when he was with, the Yaradua, strong challenger even to MK Abiola, if his political godfathers had not pressured him to step down for, as the vice president. He had won his election in Adamawa State and the mission that he had. And he picked an Atiku Abubakar. You saw how that in the first term, Atiku was in charge, literally in charge of, the government of Olusegun Obasanjo until, they fell apart for a long time. However, my challenge is, why are the youths gathering for Atiku Abubakar? Why? Is this a vote of no confidence on themselves as youth? Why is it that we want to keep recycling these people, these old policies, like we did with President Muhammadu Buhari?
Exactly.
Buhari is the Messiah. If you got the Buhari into power, he will transform, he will reform, he will inform. Now, we are doing the same thing, and this is me calling this youth. So when you keep deifying these men, you cannot look inwards and are, ready to fold their sleeves and make Nigeria work again. Can you not find them amongst you people? The Dare, Dada, and the Co. Can you not find them amongst you people? Can you not find these youths who can be there? Go around the world and see the people changing the world today from France.
Exactly.
And we saw how a young man is changing the world there. What is the problem with all of you that call yourselves youth in this country? Exactly, please look at me in the eyes. What color of problem? What's the color of you people's problem? You keep bringing these old men, and I will get old. There's nothing wrong with being old, right? But these people are tired. What do you think a President Bola Ahmed Tinubu can do now at this age? All of you, we didn't even see daylight until Bola Tinubu came. It's the daylight you are seeing now. The man is old and tired. The illustration I usually give to people is, it didn't matter how fantastic a surgeon is. Okay. It didn't matter how experienced a surgeon is. When he's old and tired, there are certain surgeries he won't be able to do.
Exactly.
At best, it will just be providing, it is. If he's old and is having challenges with his sight, you can no longer have him sit in the cockpit now. If we cannot do that with one patient in the theater in the case of a surgeon, and with how many passengers in the airline in the case of the pilot, why do you very elderly people contesting to be the president of America? And I'm like, are you people even all right? The systems in America are... Look at the revolution by Oko Noblo, during the interview he did with Shehu Okimbaloye.
Exactly.
That he had seen some monies, heavy monies that certain people had stolen. They were waiting for instruction from Attorney General. They were waiting for instruction from President. You have weak institutions. You want to put a man who is tired, a man who is physiologically weak, a man who is completely weak. You want to put him to superintend over a weak system so that they can understand that there are individuals that are used in this country. There are people who have love for country in this country that they can start clamoring for. Until such a time comes, if we think that is recycling these old people that will save us, then we are just deceiving ourselves.
Oh, I get you. But let's look into this. So as its presidential candidate in the 2027 election, this announcement was made by the party's chairman in Kano State, Ashimu Dungwawa, during an interactive section with journalists in Kano. Dungwawa expressed his confidence in Kwakwanso's ability to win the presidency, stating that he is the only person challenged. We are seeing a situation where the Labour Party has also told this same part, endorsing Peter Obi as his presidential candidate concerning Atiku Abubakar. Is this not against the law for the parties to choose a presidential candidate even before the primaries? Or has they instituted a policy of should I say, a policy of, do we say that it's already been sealed and done even before, due process is followed? Is this right? Is this legal?
There are many things in this country that are against the law that even government is supporting. Let me give you a typical example before I jump in on answering the question. It is forced to it by this, what's it called? Nigerians are going on, carrying on as if it's legal. Before I got here now, I needed cash. I went there, I paid them money. Oh, for you to get this amount ago. I said, do you know this is wrong? Both me and all of you should be arrested. For me to buy this money with money, you to sell this money with money. The CBN should be arrested. The CBN person who gave that order. You see the illegalities that you see in our country. It's a country of illegalities. But the one that is taken to be illegal is the one that the bourgeoisies, the big men consider illegal. Not the one that the law considers illegal on elections. Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso has got the traction, to be able to deliver, particularly in Kano State and in certain parts.
Can I jump in?
Yes, please.
Between Peter Obi, Rabbi Musa Kwankwaso, and Atiku Abubakar, which of them do you think has the pedigree to take Bola Ahmed Tinubu out of the 2027 if they get to a fair fight?
So I like the way you have asked this question. You have spoken about fair fight. And I want to, without equivocation, say that you would not have a fair fight in 2027.
Okay.
We are going to be having to think that you will have a fair fight. The current president, understands politics, understands the stakeholders that he must say, hey, come. He understands. See what he has done to PDP now. Yeah. Is PDP an opposition today? They are romancing the APC. He has literally castrated the PDP. So you think that there will be fair fight? The law enforcement agency, they are still going to be at his beck and call. Yeah. So until this process is disrupted, and the Akpotive is saying it, 2027 will not be any different, except we are disrupting the process as a people and asking for the change that can bring free, fair, credible election in this country, or the terrestrial and the celestial clap in our favor. One of those two. They were there longer than the Bible had said they should remain in captivity. But it took a Moses, in spite of the fact that the celestial and the terrestrial were in favor of them to come out of captivity. It took a Moses to start a movement. It took a Moses to push the people before they began gathering momentum, before he had encounters that helped to build his character, that helped to build his confidence before he approached the Pharaoh. If a Moses did not do that, the terrestrial clap to the celestial was in sync with what history books, what the prophets of all times had said about the people of Israel. But they did not come out until Moses came out. So I'm saying, if you want to wait, a coalition is about to happen. Like I hear some people say, coalition, the coalition is going to bring a Peter. But for two, all my political predictions came to pass. I'm saying, you will just wake up 2027 with all of your a coalition is happening, and you will still have the President Bola Tinubu as your president.
The stories might not be told as we are seeing it today, when posterity will be judging Similar Fubara. So a wise counseling from Ojus Okalo, though Nigerian politicians are quick to become counselors, but when it happens to them, they will not allow anybody to counsel them. Remember the problem he had with Enyini Abaribe? Exactly. Ojus Okalo, I think he had about 3 deputy governors under his belt before he left office in 8 years, when he came as a PDP governor and a PPA governor. So we are students of history, but we will not throw away the message, but we can set aside the messenger, given his own antecedents. But we are taking the meat of the matter, which is the message of peace, which is what all of us have been clamoring for. Any other person who is advising Governor Similar Fubara otherwise is inimical to his progress, is inimical to his success as a governor, is inimical to the progress of Rivers State, because those people, I will classify them as opportunists and political jobbers and political crisis merchants who only want to be favored because they know that when the needful is done, they will not find their foot. none of them will be in that corridor of power because they cannot, pride themselves as people who can win local government election. They can't win a councillorship if you bring them on the pedestal of what River State politics is all about and what politics in Nigeria is all about. They cannot garner a vote that will win them a councillorship election.
But do you see a feasibility, the reality in the fact that there has to be a reconciliation between these two warring parties? Is it possible?
I have advocated that in different fora.
Okay.
And that is the only part that Fubara has to toe.
How does it do it?
He has to do it because when they had the gentleman agreement, we were not there. You and I were not there. There was a gentlemanly agreement that brought him to power. And remember what Saraki Deskin said, who is also a seasoned politician and a voice in South and Niger Delta, who during one of his courtesy visit to Fubara said that do not forget the human machinery. Because in everything, both those calling God and all that, bringing morality into what is happening, God cannot come down from heaven and ordain you. It is through the instrumentality of the human person that God manifests his spirit power. I am here now because it's through the instrumentality of ATN that the world is hearing my voice.